transfer window may have well shut, and even so, West Ham have now released their Premier League squad list today, 24 players, and it's out of 25. So, yeah, one more to fill. I think we know who that might well be. But even though that's all been settled and you think, right, that's our squad for the season, straight away news is now starting to circulate that Pablo Fornals apparently is not going to sign a contract extension with the club. Well, not so much a contract extension. They're not even going to trigger the 1-year extension. That's what's been reported at the moment, doing its rounds. I haven't had it absolutely confirmed yet, but that's what seems to be being suggested. I just want to sort of talk about it really. First of all, let's talk about Pablo Fornals in general. So, I mean, the player's 27 years old. He turned 27 in February, and he joined us 4 years ago, 2019. I mean, you've got to be honest, it's a real prime time, isn't it, of your career as a footballer, 27, around that age. That's when you feel like you're probably at your best and your most senior level, when you can probably deliver the most. So I do kind of get it a little bit in terms of if Fornals is feeling a little bit unhappy and possibly not being in the position he wants to be at West Ham. And it's hard to not feel really sorry for him, actually, because I think he hasn't really put a foot wrong for West Ham. He's a good player and great to have around. I'll be honest, the one thing I really love about Pablo is the way he's just embraced the sort of East End culture, and that he just connects with the fans so well, doesn't he? He really has a passion for West Ham and a real love for it. So it's really sad reading, actually, if it's obviously confirmed 100% true that he's not going to sign. Now, what we have had from ex-WH employee previously is that the club were looking to extend his contract. They were going to sit down and try and get a new deal with Fornals. But obviously, as I say, the reports at the moment are suggesting that it's unlikely because the player doesn't want to even have that extension of the year option that he's got in his current deal, suggesting that he wants out, that he wants to move. But we've got to bear in mind as well that we've just had the summer transfer window shut, as I've just said, but Fornals was heavily linked with a move, wasn't he? And I think actually that it appeared to me that although that the club didn't want to let him go, that there was a chance he was going to go. Yeah, they had the Saudi Arabia clubs linked with him, which typically linked with pretty much every player, aren't they, in the Premier League? But apparently they were quite interested. But there's also, I think it was Sevilla as well, were quite keen on the player. It's really an interesting one, isn't it? It's one that I don't really want to see happen. I'm going to be honest. I'd rather just get a new deal sorted for him because I think he's worthwhile hanging on to. I think he's a good player and really good to have around. I think he's clearly a very popular player as well, and it's someone that West Ham need. I mean, you look at our squad and the depth that we need. He's the perfect player, isn't he? And he has been vital for West Ham, really, really vital. But the reality is, despite me saying all that, we can't deny the fact that Pablo Fornals is just not a first team starter, is he? At West Ham, it's unlikely for certain matches, yes. But when if you talk about Premier League first team, the first team, is he a name straight on your list? I'm not sure. And that's not having a go at him at all. It's just because of the players that are available and are in that position. And I'll tell you why I feel really sorry for him as well. Not only has he been such an instrumental player for West Ham in the years he's been here in terms of those big moments, like I say, but if you remember when he started this season, he looked really good. He played really well against Bournemouth. He started that game. He paired, didn't he, with Souček in the middle and Paqueta, and he looked good actually. He played really well and very settled, very balanced midfield. So I just really feel for him. I really do. I totally understand why he'd probably be feeling, look, I need to be playing football. But I just hope that the club are in a position that they can offer him that deal and say, look, this is you've still got a big role to play. Because let's be honest, he still has. Just because I'm saying he's not a first team starter, he's trying to, his name's not straight on the sheet, it doesn't mean that he's got nothing to do with the club. He's a massively important player for us. It's just the fact that they're just players that are going to suit the system a bit better and they offer a little bit more. But it's one of those things. As I say, I do kind of understand it. Also, as well, worth pointing out, David Moyes and his feelings towards Fornals. There's clearly a real big bond there between the manager and the player. Moyes said if you remember last season when we beat Alkmaar in the semi-final. I don't know if you've forgotten that one, but we did win the European trophy. But just letting you know, reminding you, in the semi-final when he scored that goal, such memorable sort of late winner, wasn't it? It wasn't a late winner, but it sort of sealed it, didn't it? It gave 3-1 an aggregate, and it was just amazing goal from Fornals, and what a moment that was. And I remember Moyes saying, "I'm so glad it was Pablo. You know, he's been working so hard to get back in the team. I'm so pleased it was him." It's so obvious that Moyes loves him too, and yeah, he won't. The club won't want to let him go. There's no two ways about it. But I think there's such a love and a bond there between the player. I think they will respect him. And I just hope that they can come to a compromise. I hope they can come to an agreement and get him settled and happy. But I do understand his position. As I say, look, thoughts on it are, as I say, this is only what we're hearing on the news at the moment, doing its rounds in sort of social media and whatnot from a few outlets. This is not 100% concrete confirmed, but going on the notion that it is that Fornals, and I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, it doesn't surprise me at all, because I get it. You know, 27, as I say, prime age for playing football. He wants to be playing regularly now, being a starter. And you consider what, you know, how would you describe it? Sort of the expectation when he joined Villarreal, you know, very highly rated young player, very skillful, and, you know, and I'd probably suggest that's probably taken away from him a little bit. It's probably he seems like we've coached that out of him. But what we have got is sort of like a really hard working midfielder that can be very effective, very good on the ball, wonderful finisher as well, and just such a vital player to have around. And that's what I like. I like the fact he's reliable. I like the fact he's that big moment player. You know, I mean, he has been there and done it at those big moments, and I just love him for that. I love his passion for the club. He's certainly not someone I want to see leave West Ham. I think for me, this is what I would be doing if I was the club, is working very hard to try and persuade him to stay, because we don't want to lose a player like that. But I think as well, on the other side of the coin, because of who he is, what he's offered the club, 4 years now, you know, it's hard, isn't it, to deny him a transfer. I mean, yeah. Look, my feelings aren't all on this at the moment. If this is where he's going, then let's be honest, it's likely that he's going to be he could go for free in the summer. So my feeling is that if Fornals is now saying, "Well, I'm not willing to have the extension of my contract," then we could be well seeing him leave in January.